What is up, everybody? Did you hear that voice crack? That's
Oh God, that's staying in. I'm not
yeah,
editing it out.
Please don't.
You couldn't pay me money to edit it out.
What's up, everybody? Let's just go ahead and get this out of the way. I'm sick. I'm sicky poo. It's bad. But you know what, everybody? We missed last week, and I said we are not gonna miss 2 weeks in a row. Not on my watch. Fever or not, snot or not. Snot or not, what a saying. I don't care.
Snot or not.
We are here. We're back. The Teardrop Pod is back at you with episode 8. Thank you all for joining. My name is Chris. I am one of your hosts, and I'm joined, as always, by Mr. Andrew. How are you doing today, Andrew?
I'm doing great. I'm definitely doing a lot better than you. Everybody, give a big round of applause for Chris.
Please.
He probably shouldn't be here today, but he's here. He's here for you.
I can hear all of your resounding applause from your cars and your workstations where you're listening to us, and it's just overwhelming. Please. I'm no hero. I'm just like the rest of you. No, we just have so much fun things to talk about. I do ask for your forgiveness. I'm probably going to be sniffling throughout. I'm not going to ask Andrew to, cut all those because that would take like 3 hours, I'm sure. So
it's okay. I'll bass boost them instead.
Even better. Just it's every time I sniffle, it's just this giant like reverb. That's even
just
better.
Distortion, yeah.
Yeah. So we are back with an exciting week full of content for you. We'll see what the time is. I don't think we're going to do a tier list this week because I don't think my voice is going to last that long. But we have some big shows and games to talk about. Daredevil is done. Last of Us has season 2, episodes 1, 2, and 3 are out, and we have watched episodes 1 and 2, which are the biggies. So we'll be discussing that. And our most anticipated game, as you might recall from one of our earlier episodes of 2025, is officially out. Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and we have both got some hands-on time with it, and we will be telling you all about it. And I also played. Everybody hold your breath. I used my Steam Deck. Now you can applaud.
What?
You can applaud for that.
Let's go.
I used my Steam Deck for a little indie game that I just want to bring some attention to because I don't think enough people are talking about it, and it's awesome. Called Mini Shoot Adventure. So that's what we're planning to cover today. Assuming I survive. Are you ready, Andrew? Do you want to take bets?
Let's hop into it.
On if I will make it through the end of this.
I think you'll make it about halfway through Last of Us, and then we'll pick it up tomorrow.
Yeah. God, what a terrible. You know what? The listeners will be none the wiser, but we'll know. You and I will know if that's what happens. So let's dive into Daredevil Born Again. We have watched the full season 1. They've already confirmed there will be a season 2. I'm pretty sure they've confirmed it's coming out next year. It should be a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah, I think they said March.
Yeah, so that's very unusual for a Disney Plus show. I can't think of any other time that we've had for a Marvel show specifically where we knew when it ended there would be more coming, because the only one that's gotten a season 2 is Loki, and I definitely don't think they they left you on a cliffhanger at the end of that one, but it wasn't clear if it would be resolved in a season 2 or somewhere else, I think, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because I think they kind of picked that up in Ant-Man. Is that the next place you see Kang?
Yeah.
I feel like you got to see him somewhere else before that, right? Maybe you see him in like a post-credit. Oh yeah, you see him in a post-credits.
Yeah, the one everyone memes on,
where like Doctor Strange, I think.
Where you get like the whole arena of them, the Council of Kangs.
Yeah.
No, the Council of Kangs is at the end of Ant-Man, isn't it? Because
that's it. Well, no, I'm talking about you get like a Victor Timely.
Oh yes, you're right.
Scene. Yeah, I think at the end of Doctor Strange,
and that was like.
But I think that's pretty much it.
Loki season 2. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So, we have more Daredevil coming, and it's clear because they are obviously building up to a lot of stuff. But I just want to start with your overall impressions of the show. What did you think? Like scale of 1 to 10.
Scale of 1, like it's really hard, right? Because I love like the Netflix Daredevil show. I think that this brings over like a lot of the same feelings that I had about that show. I don't think that it quite hits the highs that maybe like even like season 3 hit. But I give it like a solid like 8, like maybe even like pushing a 9. Like I think that this is like some really like solid, interesting TV. There are definitely some things that I like and some things that I don't like. I don't know how deep into like spoilers or like talking about things we want to get into.
Yeah, we can, I guess, start with a non-spoilery discussion and then dive into spoilers with a clear cut like we did last time with the Naughty Dog tier list and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I think an 8 is where I'm at as well. There were definitely parts of it that I really, really liked, that felt pretty true to the character. There were a couple of things that felt a little out of place to me. It's one of those things where I kind of am hoping, like, as we talk about it, because I haven't talked about it that much since we finished it. I hope I can kind of sort through my feelings as we go, because like overall, since I was left with when it was done, was kind of just like I liked that, but like didn't really stick with me in a big way, if that makes sense. And it definitely does have some things that I don't like about it that kind of stick out to me. Like the overall quality for the most part I thought was really good, but
yeah, it was fantastic.
There's just a couple of kind of stumbling blocks that, me being who I am, I just kind of got caught up on more so and kind of detracted from it in a couple of ways. But they totally reworked the show. There's one episode in particular right in the middle that I feel like it feels like an episode of the week kind of thing. It feels kind of separated from everything else in the bank episode. And like
that was one of the episodes that I was like, like I don't know if we necessarily need this. Like, it's cool.
Yeah, it's weird because like I thought it was really well done. And I enjoyed it. In some ways, it felt very comic booky. Like it felt like, a lot of comic books are in these 6-issue arcs, and like some of those in the midst of them are a little bit more filler. And like it felt like a filler episode, which I think only bothers me because I feel like there's so much left unresolved in this. So like, could we have used that runtime to kind of maybe fill some things out a little bit better? But if you don't look at it that way and just look at it what it is, I still think it's well done. There's very little action in this show, which I think is actually a good show of restraint on their part. You really spend a lot more time with Matt as Matt the lawyer and Matt the person than you do as Daredevil. It's kind of funny
which is my favorite part of the show, by the way. Like all of like the lawyer stuff, like even in like, I talk an enormous amount of trash about season 2 of Daredevil, but like the best parts of that season is when, Matt's just being a lawyer. Like I love that stuff, courtroom drama type stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that this show really, really nails a lot of that whenever you're there.
Yeah. I think a lot of the cast that is introduced in this season is good, but not great. I will say Daniel, the character, Fisk's like little communications guy, I really didn't like him at the beginning, but I feel like by the end, he became a little bit more believable as it went on. I still think that the Fisk that we knew from the other seasons wouldn't have put up with his like fangirliness, the way he presents himself at the beginning. But he becomes a little bit more.
Did you know that he's Tony Soprano's like I don't know the actor's name, but he's his son.
Yeah, I can't remember his name either, but I knew. Clue. Yeah.
Like something Gandolfini. I don't remember his first name.
Tony? No, that's so weird. That's the name of the character. Yeah. No.
But yeah, I'm with you. I was definitely buying him a little in the beginning. It was like you and me both kind of talked about it on whenever we were first giving like our first impressions. We were like, I don't know about this kid, and then by the end, I was like, okay, maybe you can kind of fill that like Fisk middleman role a little bit, I guess.
I mean, he's different from like the assistant guy who like is his right hand man that he gets to do his like actual dirty work. I thought that character was very boring and like not very interesting.
Definitely.
But Daniel, I think, evolves into a character. You do see some growth for him, like obviously growth towards a darker path, but like in a way that feels a little bit more genuine and interesting. oh my gosh, I can't remember the guy who finds out Matt's identity in the first episode, the like ex-cop or whatever, the one who's retiring, who kind of checks in on him throughout the season.
Oh, you're talking about, what's it, Cherry?
Yeah.
Or something?
Yeah. He just feels like a total nothing of a character to me. I feel like he really doesn't get fleshed out very much.
Yeah.
I would have liked,
which is really unfortunate because I really like that actor. He's a pretty big character in, I think it's the last season of The Wire.
okay. Yeah.
He's in,
I mean, he seems,
and he's awesome.
I can believe that. And I mean, he is presented in a way that you think is going to make him really important when like, oh, he knows Matt is Daredevil, you know, at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then he kind of just very intermittently pops in as you go. So I think a lot of those characters just could have been used a little bit more, especially once we get into spoilers. We can talk about the very last episode and how it really feels like they get sidelined. But I do think overall, you know, Vincent D'Onofrio, Charlie Cox's performance is great. The action we do get for the most part is pretty good. One other thing it's like a partial spoiler. I mean, they used him very much in the promotional material, but Muse is obviously a main antagonist in this show. Really felt like they wasted that character.
I was gonna say, is he a main antagonist?
Yeah, I mean,
like he's like,
it's just
barely there.
A total waste. And I guess we can get into that when we go full spoilers. But man, that's one of the biggest disappointments of the show for me.
Same.
I think at the end of the day, what it really comes down to is it's classic Disney Plus, where they try to fit too much into the show, and it just, a lot of it ends up getting either rushed or unresolved. The unresolved stuff you can be a little more forgiving about because of the fact we know we're getting another season, but I still want things to feel a little more complete than I think this feels at the end of it. Even as part one of a 2 or 3 part thing, or however long it's going to be. I didn't feel like it was an especially satisfying conclusion. But I still think that they largely achieve the tone and I guess vibe, for lack of a better word, of the original series, and do a good job of bringing that into a new kind of setting. And I did still very much enjoy watching it week to week. I still think the performances and the writing in general are well done enough that like it was enjoyable, but I do think it's got some relatively big flaws.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree. But like you said, it's enjoyable for sure. Like I really did like it. I thought that the vibe was pretty spot on. Like I could tell that it had like that little bit of like Disney money behind it. And in some cases, like it just, I don't know if it was just like the cameras or like something about the feel of it. I could tell that there was like a heightened sense of like quality from just like a visual standpoint, I guess.
Except for that fight in the first episode.
Yeah, except for the fight in the first episode.
They really thought they cooked with that one too, I bet. I really feel like they felt...
I didn't mind it that much. But, I mean, shall we spoil it up a little bit?
Let's get into full spoilers here. So that guy, the police commissioner, you think he's going to come back for season 2?
Maybe about half of him.
Gonna hang like his jaw up as like a trophy.
What in the world, dude?
I think that's the single most brutal thing we've ever seen in the MCU, right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, 100%. Like not even close.
That man was just, his face was split in half. Like that's a Mortal Kombat fatality level of over the top.
That's what I thought.
Like brutality. Like,
yeah.
Wow. They really thought that they were doing, which I mean, look, it was cool, but it was almost so over the top that I was like, okay, you got the message. We want Daredevil to be brutal. Daredevil is known as brutal, and like that was how you do it, I guess. Made an impression.
I think that it's kind of like I still think that it's fine. Like I actually don't really have any gripes with it, just because he's in like a room of people, like, and he's really trying to like get this point across, like do not mess with me. Like, even like everybody doesn't already know that, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
you're Wilson Fisk. Like, nobody's gonna mess with you.
The scene leading up to it is actually really sad. Like him getting in the car and seeing his driver has the Punisher symbol on his neck.
Yeah.
It's like I think he kind of accepted his fate, but it would have been nice to see him like fight back a little bit there. But in some ways, I think
He's like, oh, we're just going for a drive. Oh, we're going for a walk. All right, let's go up here.
Yeah. No, I think he probably didn't know that was how he was going to go out, but I think he knew he was done. And it was really tragic. I didn't really expect to see the that government person he's working with, that woman, turn on him that much. I forget her name, one of the other new cast, who I think was like who the government basically assigns Fisk or whatever. I thought Fisk was going to kill her, but
oh yeah, for sure. I thought that she was going to be one of the first ones in like his administration or whatever to get offed, because she just seemed very not on board with the whole thing, and I think he knows that. And like I thought it was just a matter of time, but yeah, I mean that scene is especially gruesome.
That was a weird place for
he's just a force to be reckoned with, dude.
When I was thinking, like, for some reason, that's one of the things that stuck with me the most, since it's been a little while since the season came out. But so like that's just one thing that sticks with me. But some other big spoilery stuff to touch on, I think, is we started to discuss this, but Muse. I mean, why did they? Why does the Marvel brain, the Marvel executives feel that they need to kill off every villain and all of their content? Like, just let them live, so that if you want to bring them back, you can, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, just send him to jail. It's fine. It's not like he's gonna break out of jail.
He had like 2
wink,
episodes.
Wink, wink.
Exactly. I don't know, man. Like, as a concept, you know, I haven't read a ton of Daredevil comics, but like, as I understand it, I think one of his powers in the comics is that like Matt can't sense him, and so
so there's a specific wording on the Wikipedia, because I didn't know anything about this character at all, so I looked him up because I really wanted to know like what he was about. And whenever I read the Wikipedia article, I was like, dude, he seems freaking sick. Let's see. Muse's body acts like a vortex which can absorb any kind of sensory information that surrounds him.
Yeah,
what?
That's insane.
That sounds so sick.
And we don't
also,
get that
he's an Inhuman.
Which
is like, what?
Like, yeah, I just feel like they didn't. The fact they didn't touch on that at all must be because they're already working towards building up the mutants, I guess, at this point, and so they didn't want to also add in the Inhumans. But like, they've turned, like, Miss Marvel is an Inhuman who they're turning into a mutant in the comics. It's like, you could just call him a mutant in here.
Is she?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that she's an Inhuman, and that like they're turning her, like they're now saying that she's going to be a mutant or something like that. Let me double check.
But it's like, even then, it's like, we already got Black Bolt. Like, Black Bolt was in Doctor Strange. Yeah. And
so they didn't even like go into him. That's probably why he didn't get like any lines or anything like that. So
yeah. That it's just so. Oh yeah, you're looking up Miss Marvel.
Yeah, Miss Marvel. She
Miss Marvel mentioned
Inhuman lineage activated by the Terrigen bomb. She went on to become the newest holder of the Miss Marvel identity. Kamala later discovered that she was also a mutant, making her a rare mutant Inhuman hybrid. Yes. So
what in the heck?
So like, they can do whatever they want, dude. It's because Miss Marvel was such a popular character that like, now that they're going back, like even in the comics, I feel like they're pretty much abandoning the Inhuman thing, which is so stupid. Like, it just proves what everyone was saying. It's like they only came up with this as a concept because they didn't own the rights to the Fox, you know, the X-Men stuff whenever Fox still had that. So I don't know. Yeah. It sucks because that character, to bring it back to Daredevil, is like Muse, even disregarding the fact that he specifically, I think, had so much potential based off of his comic origins. It's like, even just looking at what they did give us in the show, he feels underutilized. I mean, to give him like this super minor tease that he, you know, comes up to Matt's new girlfriend, oh my god, what's her name? I'm so bad.
Oh, don't ask me her name. I got no clue.
Yeah, Natalie, I think, or whatever.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, your guess is as good as mine on that one.
I'm so bad. We're both so bad with names. It's perfect for when we're trying to go over, discuss entire shows. Yeah, so I just feel like them teasing him meeting her at the beginning of the show and not really getting any kind of connection there until the very end when he like comes to get her. I just, I don't know.
It just felt off. It just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
Like, the whole time I'm sitting there thinking, like, I felt like we could have done a lot more with this. Because it's in 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty much it.
I think.
And with how much they, like, teased him in the trailers, like, leading up to it and stuff, it's like, I thought that we were going to get at least a little bit more. Like, just something. But,
I kind of think it's another example of them getting the message that, like, ooh, we want Daredevil to be dark and gritty. And, like, a person who uses the blood of its victims to create art is very dark and gritty. But then they didn't really know how to execute on that beyond the surface level. Like, that's the appeal.
yeah.
Which maybe is kind of the general overarching issue I have with the show, maybe, is that they know what people want, but they can't fully commit to it or utilize it. Because I also think that's what happens with Punisher being here. Because I was so worried that he was going to get his one moment to shine in episode 4 or whatever it is when Matt goes to visit him in the sewers, and then we weren't going to get him again. But we did in the finale. But he also just kind of shows up. He's like, "Oh yeah, I got a call." It's like, which you find out was Karen, which doesn't totally make sense that she would know that was the time to get him to. How would she know how to contact him? Like, how would she know that
How did
was
she
the
get
time?
to New York so fast?
Yeah, there's a lot of suspension of disbelief there, but him literally just showing up to just kind of have their team up moment. It was cool. I really liked that fight, and I really liked their dialogue back and forth. But if you think about it for more than like 5 seconds, it's kind of like
it just all falls apart.
Yeah, how did this come together? But I'm glad that they touched on him confronting the cops who were like using him as their symbol unjustly. But I just wanted a little more from his conversation with them, where he like goes in, which again, when you see him go and attack the base or whatever by himself, like, why? What did he think was going to happen? He just kind of, I don't know, rogue agents it and just kind of goes, and I don't fully understand what.
Unless he just really thinks that he's like, if he just thinks that he's like a big deal, like, then I can kind of see it. I mean, he definitely does think that he's like, the shit, basically. Yeah. So like, he probably could on like a really good day go in there and maybe mess everybody. But like, dude, there's so many people in there. Like, there's just no chance that like you alone are like doing that.
Well, it's like you just met up with Matt. Like, I don't know. And Matt, obviously, Matt's going to have the same idea. So it's like, at least wait 30 minutes for him to show up. And then if you're going to do it together. But I feel like that conversation, whenever he does get kidnapped by them and they're like, we really look up to you, we'd love for you to join us, and he's like, you don't know the pain I've felt. It's like, y'all are just a bunch of clowns. Like, it was cool, but like, I feel like they kind of dance around the fact that like why they specifically use him as a icon, and him not directly saying why they shouldn't, or like how wrong they are to do that. It's kind of just like a woe is me kind of thing, which like I get that he's a tragic character, but I just feel like they could have been a little bit more in depth with that. It felt a little surface level. That was my take. I don't know, what did you think?
Yeah, no, I mean that sounds about right. I'm not gonna lie, it didn't stick with me that much. I don't remember it that well, but the more that you talk about it, the more it kind of comes back to me.
Yeah, it's just that scene where like he goes in, he does this fight, he takes out a bunch of them by himself, and then they eventually
end up like tying him to a chair or whatever,
and they take turns like beating him up. But before they do that, they're like, we don't want to do this. If you just agree and to join us, then we can work together, and it would mean a lot to us. And he's like, y'all look up to me. Y'all are a bunch of clowns. You don't know the pain I feel. You don't know what it's like to be me. But he doesn't really, I feel like, go into, I don't know, the full. I don't know.
He doesn't go as far as I would like him to go with it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Well, it's like
there's definitely like a certain way that I think, I mean, the Punisher logo, like, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
People love the Punisher logo.
Yeah. It's like such a cool
trucks and stuff everywhere.
for them to even be like willing to put that into the show at all, knowing that it's obviously an allegory for real life. It's like, I don't know. That's just such a bold choice. So it's like, I don't know, be bold in your conclusion too, especially because that's one of the only through lines in the entire season. Like, we get that corrupt cop thing from the very beginning, and it immediately calling back to the Punisher. It's like, that's one of the only through lines. So like, that is one thing that I would have liked to see a stronger conclusion to in this season specifically. Like, I'm sure that task force or whatever will be back, and I'm obviously Punisher is going to be back, but I don't know. Yeah. That moment, that confrontation it just felt a little bleh to me. I don't know. Just a little flat.
But the fight scene though, that fight scene is crazy.
Yeah, the one with him and with Matt and the
Daredevil and Punisher.
Apartment. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. Matt like constantly trying to keep him from like killing people. Like, no, Frank, stop. No, seriously, stop, please.
Yeah, that one part where he's like, every life has value or whatever he says. And then Frank's like, oh yeah. And then he just shoots that guy in the head. He's like, oh, did his life matter? Did he have value or whatever? Like, oh my God, dude, you are insane. But
it's so good, dude.
And then at the end when Matt's like about to fight him over killing people, and it's like they all just get blown up by a grenade anyway. It's like, do you not see how futile this is for Matt? Like, I'm not saying that you should, become the Punisher yourself, but I'm just from the outside looking in. I'm just saying, it feels like you are spending a lot of energy for something that is not going to pan out well regardless, but we'll see.
Yeah. I'm glad that Karen came back for at least a little bit, regardless of the circumstances or how she got there.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like, all right, New York City's in a blackout and I'm going to fly home. It's like,
wouldn't all flights I don't know, probably be canceled?
I would imagine so, right? Like, it just didn't make much sense. But it's always such a treat to see her. Like, she's one of my favorite characters in the original 3 seasons, and seeing her and Matt, have a couple of moments of like reflecting on like they talk about like Foggy and like stuff like that a little bit, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah.
I honestly I'm trying to think of like what is actually said, but.
Yeah, they talk about the avocados at law and everything.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
when they're in the
just like reminiscing
storage place or whatever, kind of talking about Foggy's
because we went through like all the old files.
Yeah. She's great. I do think that her and Punisher coming back kind of plays into what I was saying earlier about the new cast members not really getting a full chance to shine, because like.
Yeah,
you kind of had to focus on the returning characters for that episode. But I mean, that's ultimately, I think, again, what people want, because they're such fan favorites. So
absolutely,
it was good to see them again for sure. And
then learning like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, well, you do your thought, and because this is going to take us down a whole nother rabbit hole, what I was about to ask.
Okay. Yeah. I was about to say, we're also, Michael, learning like Kingpin's plan essentially to like make his own like city state, or make his own set. Like I don't really know like what exact wording was used, but like basically making his own lawless little part of New York.
Yep.
What, dude? That's such a cool idea. Like that's the part of the entire show that I was like, dang, okay, no, this show is sick. That's the part that like really sold me on it.
Yeah, it's a good like street level kind of approach, which is again something that I think we've been wanting to see and makes sense for these characters specifically. I'm excited to see what that leads to, especially with him and Vanessa kind of being fully back on the same page now, I think, which was something else that I did appreciate from the season, like seeing their relationship play out was satisfying. You know, I think they really did genuinely have me on the ropes on whether they were gonna stay together, if one of them was gonna betray the other one. But ultimately, to see them come back and even stronger as this evil duo was really one of the best arcs in the show, I thought.
They're just so cool together, dude.
Yeah.
And then having, you know, whatever her dude like down in Fisk's basement.
Yep.
Or whatever kind of little like weird place that he's got
his
down there.
Dungeon that he's now every vigilante in New York hanging out in.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh yeah. I totally forgot about that part. I was just talking about the her like lover, like affair dude or whatever. Like that whole scene where she kills him or something. God, dude, why can't I remember anything about this show?
It's the one that he's keeping because he promised that he wouldn't kill him, and then he shows her that, all right, I kept my word, and then she's like, wow, I love you so much for that, and then she shoots him,
and then just shoots him. That's right. Yeah.
Just wild interactions. Just the definition of this is a toxic relationship.
And see, and I guess that's my biggest thing with the show is like, as you say stuff, like it comes back to me, but it didn't have any of those moments that like I could tell you stuff that happened in the first season. I could tell you stuff that happened in the second season. I could tell you stuff about the third season. In this season, like there are a couple of those moments, but like there's not like that big like high that I feel kind of happening in most of the other seasons. I don't know if season 2 had it, but
yeah,
you know, which is what I was kind of missing, and especially with the finale, like leaving off on like a 10-minute long, you know, cliffhanger where they're just constantly teasing stuff, and I mean, I don't even know if it's so much like teasing stuff, but just like setting up. I don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah, the whole like we need an army kind of thing, and then
the army. Yeah,
you go back to the bar, and it's like a bunch of no-name cops, and then like I thought Jessica and Luke and Iron Fist. I thought they were all gonna be up in there. Exactly, like that feels like where you're going.
What's the point?
I just and it was confusing because I saw some people say that like they played a variation on Spider-Man's theme or something like that in that moment, and everyone's super confused because like legally he can't even be in that show because of the way the rights work out, and like the composer was like, yeah, no, I didn't do that. Marvel just kind of does their own thing. So it's like there's just a lot of confusion about what's gonna happen, but I don't know if there's last minute change or something, but I don't know if they thought they were cooking there, but they didn't. I mean, that's part of the biggest reason why I felt like a really anticlimactic finale to me, to be, okay, we're leading up to this big thing, but nothing you're showing me is making me excited for what that lead up is. So I don't know. I'm sure they have.
And
plans,
see, if they hadn't have already told us that season 2 was coming and that it's coming before Spider-Man 4 next year, I would have bet money. Like I would have bet big bucks that Spider-Man 4 was a continuation of this.
Yeah. Well, there's so much happening in New York. It's like, how does he not get involved?
Exactly.
And they inadvertently referenced him earlier in the show with Fisk giving his speech when he's elected, you know, these men dressed as spiders or whatever swinging around. It's like, so we know he's, I mean, we already knew, but like, that's a direct reference basically in everything but name. So it's like, if you're going to do that, don't tease me, dude. It's not fair. It's not fun.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is like, as much as I would love that to be like the next movie, I haven't fact checked this. You can fact check me on this. I don't know if this is real, because I know that Spider-Man can't appear in TV shows. He can only appear in movies. Isn't it the opposite for Kingpin? Can't Kingpin only appear in shows but not in movies? I feel like one of my friends told me this.
I'm not positive. I'm not sure.
I haven't checked it, but if that's the case, then it's like, how did these two ever meet?
Yeah.
Like I feel like, you know, Kingpin is as much a Daredevil villain as he is a Spider-Man villain.
Yeah, they're like,
in my eyes,
they're very much shared. It's like,
yeah,
in the Ultimate Spider-Man comic right now, Kingpin is like a huge part of that, and it's like, I feel like in the comics almost, it feels like Kingpin is almost more of a Spider-Man villain. I mean, he's in both, but like I think of him a lot in Spider-Man stuff as well. But in the cinematic side of things, you know, he was in the old Daredevil movie, and obviously in the Daredevil shows. So it's like I feel like he's more associated with Daredevil specifically and to the general public because of the movies and stuff like that.
Yeah, just like general like media and stuff.
Yeah. But I don't know, dude. It's just a mess, which I get it. You know, legal stuff is annoying, but just don't tempt fate, I guess. Like if you know that it's a really tough situation there, unless they're trying to like strong arm Sony into doing something. But
or Sony, dude, tell me the last time that Sony made a good superhero movie, like period. Like I can't think of it. I mean,
hello,
is it Days of Future Past?
Madam Web, Days of Future Past. Those are all X-Men. Those are all Fox movies.
Oh yeah, no, that's Fox. That's Fox. Yeah, what am I even talking about? Yeah,
Sony, Kraven the Hunter, I heard was fantastic. Obviously, Venom: The Last Dance, I'm sure was great. Madam Web with My Girls. Come on.
Oh god, dude.
You know, I get it. They have an empire of their own that they're worried about. So
yeah. I can't believe like how many movies they put out. They're just like, oh yeah, this is good. This is good. Send it.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, dude, stop sending it. Like it's bad, please.
Can you unsend, please?
Yeah.
Hit the
Can
undo.
you just let Kevin Feige just do his thing and make your property good? Like, it just doesn't make any sense for y'all to keep trying and failing and like it's never gonna catch on, no matter how many times you try to make a Spider-Man, you know, villain verse, whatever they're trying to do. I haven't watched any of them. I watched the first Venom movie and I was like, this is fine, and then everything since then has been like progressively worse.
I watched
and
the
then
first
we get the Kraven,
two.
it's like
I watched the first two Venom movies. I haven't seen 3, Madam Web, Kraven, or Morbius. I kind of ironically wanted to watch them because I think they'd be so bad that it would be funny. But
yeah, I was about to say they'd be more funny than like actually serious. And
I already watched at least the first 2 Venoms. I'm like, at that point, I should probably watch the last one just to say. But I couldn't tell you hardly anything about them anyway, so it's not like I'm emotionally invested.
Yeah.
Okay, I will say, obviously, the best last Sony thing they made was the Spider-Verse movies. I will say that. So.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay.
They're one golden goose.
I was about to say they get one.
Yeah. Only other thing that I want to touch on with this show was the post-credit scene. Did you see it?
I definitely saw it, but I don't remember.
It's, I think, one of the worst post-credits they've ever had. It's
oh no,
Punisher in his little jail cell in
that's right. Yeah.
Fisk prison, and he starts sweet talking this guard and gets him, come on over, let me shake your hand. Like, and then he shakes his hand and just snaps it in half and gets his keys. And I was like, dude, this is the laziest thing I've seen from them in a really long time. Like, it makes no sense. I understand that there would logic away the fact that the guard would do that because they're all big fans of Punisher. But like, at this point, he's killed a lot of them. And even if they're a fan of them, it's like, in that situation specifically, you have to be beyond a fan. You have to be exceptionally stupid to fall for that. And like, you went through all of this to show him getting tortured and beat up and captured, but then you just release him in a post-credit scene in 3 seconds because I think they're doing a Punisher special. It's like, this is one of the worst examples of them just being lazy to achieve the next goal that they need to in the, you know, the lineup. I feel like I despise that post-credit scene. I thought it was so dumb.
It got the most like over dramatic eye roll of all time for me. Whenever I watched it, I immediately looked over at Kayla and was just like, "You kidding, dude? Like, there's no way that they thought that like this guard is never doing that. You know who Frank Castle is. You know who the Punisher is. You think this man just wants to shake your hand while he's in a cage? Get out of town, man."
I get it. He's a charismatic young man, you know. He seemed like a bro who just wanted to share a beer. But I don't know, read the room, dude. I thought that was so lazy. I hated that.
Yeah. Yeah. Not good.
All right. End of
But the rest of it was fine.
yeah. End of spoilers. I feel like we've been really negative because I do think there are a lot of issues in there. Some more that I'm thinking about as we go, but we kind of should probably move on.
Yeah.
But I do stand by what I said earlier, in that I think that generally they achieved the writing and tone of these characters that we wanted, and it was still very enjoyable to watch. Though it did, I think, suffer the same fate of a lot of the Disney Plus shows, where it felt very rushed towards the end and a little incomplete. And I'm hoping that with the next season they have a little bit more vision and can maybe make it a little bit smoother of a ride, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, I feel like we'll get a lot more like finite like answers and like direction in the next season. I feel like a lot of this was kind of setting up for like a really big season.
Yeah,
I think the next one's just gonna be absolutely nuts, balls to the wall, crazy the whole time.
Yeah, I think so too. I think this is the first example of us reviewing something that we've already made a tier list for. And so I think our goal going forward is, if we do something like that, to pull up our tier list and kind of add to them as we go. And so we have got, look at that. Wow. We have got our MCU show tier list here. For audio listeners, we'll give you a really quick rundown here. Bottom of F tier. Actually, you run through it. My voice is dying.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah. At the very bottom, in last place, the worst Marvel TV show ever made, Secret Invasion in the F tier. It's so bad.
F's in chat.
In the D tier, we've got What If at the bottom, with Echo What If Season 2 at the bottom, followed by Echo, and then What If Season 1. In the C tier, we've got at the bottom Miss Marvel, then Daredevil Season 2, then Moon Knight at the top, and then at B, the bottom of B tier, Agatha All Along, She-Hulk, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and The Punisher Season 1. And then in the A tier, at the bottom, we have Hawkeye, WandaVision, and Daredevil Season 1 at the top of the A tier. And in the S tier, at the bottom, Season 3 of Daredevil. After that, Loki Season 2 and Loki Season 1 at the top.
I forgot that we put 1 over 2.
I also forgot that we put 1 over 2. Why did we do that? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, maybe.
I think it's because we said 1 overall is like probably a better consistent quality.
Yeah.
Although 2 still, I think, has the best finale of all time.
Yeah. God, I think about it all the time.
Too.
It's so good.
Dude, in the mute. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Where would we like to rank Daredevil Born Again on this list? I got to think about it for a sec, dude.
I think I know exactly where I would put it. So I'll give you a second to collect your thoughts.
I mean, it's probably either like the top of B or like bottom of A for me.
Yeah.
Is that about where you're thinking?
Yeah.
Or you got...
like I said, I never saw Punisher, so
yeah,
it's tough for me to compare that directly. But I would put, what I was thinking is between WandaVision and Hawkeye. So like still towards the bottom of A for me.
Yeah. I'm totally cool with that. Dang, dude. The Daredevil show just kills it. Yeah,
they're representing.
It's 3 of our 7 slots in the top 2 tiers.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I like Hawkeye, but I
love that Hawkeye show so much, dude. It's such a fun watch.
Yeah.
Like,
I should make it like a Christmas tradition, like that. That should be what I watch every Christmas, because it's got the holiday thing going on there. Well, and
and they brought back that one dude. They brought back Lalo from. Yeah. Is that Swordmaster?
I think so.
Holy crap! I didn't even realize.
I'm pretty sure that's who that is. So
I only know him because of the Marvel Snap card, but that's crazy.
So yeah, that puts the new A tier is now, the top of A tier is Daredevil Season 1, WandaVision, Daredevil Born Again, and then Hawkeye. It's a pretty good A tier. I like that.
Yeah, that's solid. Super solid.
All right. What's up next, Andrew?
We're going to talk about a little Last of Us season 2. We've only watched the first 2 episodes. Well, I've only watched the first 2 episodes. I don't know if you've watched the third one yet or not.
Yeah.
I have not caught up, so we're just going to talk about the first 2. I feel like those are the 2 that probably most people would like to talk about. Yeah. Like to hear us talk about at least. Yeah. Cuz they're a little crazy. What are your thoughts on these episodes so far?
Yeah, so I guess I'll start with spoilers for the show, just for the show for episodes 1 and 2. At this point, I don't feel like we need to dance around like spoilers for this. The episodes was in there since it's early on enough. Most people probably will have seen it. We'll have a separate section maybe at the tail end of the conversation where we'll add in spoilers from the game, and we'll include that clearly where that is. But yeah, I think we talked about this beforehand. We were like, all right, are they going to kill him episode 1 or are they going to kill him episode 2? And I think we both kind of knew it was going to be 2, but I was like, I'll say episode 1 just to be different. Yeah. And it was 2, but we lost our boy Joel Miller. He's gone.
R.I.P.
I am enjoying the show. And our Naughty Dog tier list, I think you could probably tell from the passion with which I was describing these games that they mean a lot to me. And so I am a little precious about it. And I really love the first season. I felt like most of the changes that they made from the game it was a very faithful adaptation in a lot of ways. And the changes they did make, I thought were very additive. This one I feel like is changing a lot more already so far. Yeah. Some of the changes I think are interesting and cool. Some of them make sense and kind of feel necessary for the sake of changing from a video game to TV, but I don't think are really additive. And some of them I'm not totally sold on yet. But if we're just talking performances, writing, production, I still think the show is fantastic. I mean, I think it's really well done. I think everyone is firing on all cylinders. I do really like the new psychiatrist character. I really like
she's really good.
Yeah, I like seeing more of Jackson. I think it's playing a surprisingly large role, even more so in episode 3, which I know you said you haven't seen, which is cool. The giant zombie horde going into Jackson, obviously not in the game, but was still really well done.
Crazy.
I thought. A couple little things here and there that I'd maybe like, I don't know entirely how I feel on, but Dina, oh my gosh, the actress playing Dina, so good.
Amazing, right?
Yeah. She's crushing it. That character is so good in the game and so important. And I think that, I forget her name. I know she was in Alien Romulus, but yeah, she's doing a fantastic job so far. And I'm really, really enjoying her.
Yeah.
And we got Abby. We have seen Abby. She came, she saw it. What is it? I came, I saw, I conquered. She did it.
Yeah.
I think that scene, we'll get into that scene specifically when we're doing more specifics. But overall, I am really enjoying the season. I still think it is done at a really high caliber. I do think it's really hard to look at it as someone who is so in love with the source material through a new lens. It's tough to not be critical of that when I'm critical of everything anyway. But if I wasn't approaching it from that perspective, I think I would like it even more. And I still really like it. But what about you?
I'm pretty much in the exact same boat. If I didn't know the source material, this would be amazing. But since I do know the source material, I feel like I'm enjoying it a good bit less than
a good bit.
Yeah, I mean,
more so than season 1.
So far, maybe. I really like season 1.
Yeah, I do too.
Like season 1 is fantastic. Like, and yes, from a production standpoint and all that, like I still think that this season is bringing it for sure. I mean, the whole scene, you know, where the Horde takes over Jackson, like that's like a Game of Thrones-esque battle scene.
Yeah, I've heard a lot
that
of people
they just
make that comparison.
Just kind of shove in there, and it works for me. I think it's cool. I mean, I think I'm trying not to. Some character locations, kind of like, just because of how the source material is, you know, like where Tommy is versus where Dina is, for, you know, and like that whole scene, like, but I feel like you can't have that scene like without Tommy being there.
Yeah, I don't think it's like when I was saying earlier, like spoilers from the game, like for later, it's like, I guess like saying like, we think something is going to be like changed, but if it's already happened in the show and then like it was different in the game, I don't think that's a spoiler to say, because you're talking about like the fact that in the game it's Joel and Tommy who were on their patrol together versus now it's Joel and Dina because Tommy had to be back at Jackson to help defend, right? That's what you were getting at? Yeah,
pretty much.
Which like it was cool seeing Tommy have to kind of defend that, you know. I was listening to some of the behind the scenes stuff and they were saying, you know, these kind of dual conflicts helped keep the tension, I feel like, in a way that they were able to do in the show that they couldn't do in the game. I definitely was also kind of like, why isn't Tommy here? It's really important that Tommy's here.
Right?
And I do have more thoughts on that we'll have to talk about later. I haven't seen episode 3. Yeah, that's one of those changes that it's like, okay, this is interesting.
Yeah, it's like, fine, like, sure.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. Like, it's not the end of the world, but if I hadn't played the game, I would know no different.
Yeah. It's one of those things I'm trying to, and I feel like this is how I'm going to feel about a lot of it, is that there's still so much to go that we could still end up with the same end result. They're just going about it a different way, or it could be totally different. We don't know yet. And so until I see how it all plays out, it's like, I'm trying to reserve some judgment, if that makes sense. Because I still don't think it's like bad, but that was one of those first things. My initial reaction was like, don't like that. But
yeah,
I don't know.
That's kind of stuck with me for like the past week, where I'm just like, I don't know if I like it or not. Like, specifically, like based off of like the opening scene of the show. It's like, I feel like that opening scene right there, like, it kind of ruined it for me just a little bit.
The opening.
I'm not gonna lie.
I'm forgetting, what was the opening of the show?
Abby.
Oh right, yes, that is one change that I really don't like.
I'm like very resentful of that change. I feel like it has completely ruined so much of like the shock factor, I guess, of like, you know.
So in the game, you don't find out
the source material,
like Abby's motivations or who she is until hours into the game, much later. And for them to start this season with introducing her again, because of how they're split, you know, this season is only 7 episodes long. We're already almost halfway through this season.
Is it really?
Yeah. So like, who knows how long we're going to wait between 2 and 3. And so I think the way the timing works, they just felt like they needed to let people know a little bit more, because otherwise you would be waiting probably an unreasonable amount of time to understand. Yeah. But it does feel that change to me, I agree, I feel like is necessary because of the change of mediums that you're going from games to TVs, but it doesn't serve the plot in a meaningful way, I don't think, either.
Yeah. And it just doesn't make that, like, that's one of the most important scenes of the entire show, of any game ever. Like, and I feel like that opening scene alone, like, just even from like a thinking about it, if I was just a viewer, if I hadn't played the game, like, I see that scene, and then, you know, the next episode, Joel is saving Abby, and it's like, all right, well, like, I don't necessarily know that, you know, Joel is going to die, but this is the girl that obviously wants to kill Joel, and I know that now, and you know, in the game you don't know that, you just think that Joel's just saving someone.
Yep.
So it's like, it's such a weird, like, it's such a weird decision.
Well,
I don't even agree with it. Like from the standpoint of like being just a TV watcher, I don't agree with it at all. I really despise it.
I do think that the majority of the reason was probably them wanting to not leave people on a cliffhanger if the season is going to end where I think it's going to end. But
yeah,
I do wonder if there's any part of them that was like, people got so mad on the internet when we killed off Joel because they saw the game leaked beforehand and they saw it out of context. I wonder if this was their way of trying to ease that blowback this time by giving you a little bit more motivations, because I feel like people are still going to be upset regardless, right? But like, at least this way they can kind of rationalize it some, whereas like the way it's told in the game, you just don't have any context. So I feel like you're even more blind rage. It's just like, who is this chick who just killed this character that I adore, you know? And now it's like, you know why. But it is a fundamental change, and one that I also agree. I mean, it's the same kind of thing with when she finds out while Joel is saving her that is Joel, whereas in the game she doesn't realize it's Joel until they get back to the cabin, right? And that moment is so dramatic in the game,
so tense,
where they say their names and everyone just stops, and they're like, why y'all acting like you just why you acting like you heard of me before? It's like, I have, and then just shoots his legs out. Dude, it's just insane. That's, I feel like we're sounding so negative today because I'm just nitpicking, but like,
yeah, no, I know.
that's why I tried to start with like, I am enjoying it. This is, Mary's gonna listen to this episode and be like, yep, that sounds like you. You just you say you like something, like you spend an hour talking about all things you don't like about it. I can't help it. I'm sorry. But like, the actual killing scene of Joel, the more I think about it, the more I really don't like that Abby monologue. I really, really don't like it, Andrew.
Really?
Yeah. And what
that wasn't the I honestly didn't mind that part that much.
In what world
it was funny.
is Abby ever gonna call Joel handsome? Like, it just felt so...
I mean, if she's spitting. Have you seen Pedro Pascal?
Look, I'm not saying she's lying.
That's a man there.
Like, she's not speaking any untruths. It felt like it didn't need to be said is all. And ultimately, what I think I've been reminding myself is that these characters, and I already felt this way even after the first season, but it's way more apparent in this season, I think, is that the TV show iterations of these characters are not the same characters as the video game versions of these characters. Ellie in the show is way more vocal, is way more sassy, whereas like Ellie in the game is brutal, but a little bit more reserved and a little more quippy. And you know, Abby in the game is much more stoic and brutal, and in this she's a little more savage, I feel like, and a little more, I don't know, rambly. I don't know, which I'm kind of just basing off that monologue, but it's like, that to me is not something that Abby in the game would ever do. And it wasn't that it was necessarily a poorly done monologue. And again, if I didn't have a point of context, a point of reference, I probably wouldn't have even thought about it twice. But because I do, it sticks out to me. And even, I'm kind of jumping around a bunch here, but the one thing I didn't like about episode 1 with Pedro Pascal's performance, or I should say, was drastically different than what I envisioned the character of Joel being or saying or doing, was when he's having that conversation with Dina, and he's like, I don't understand why she's so angry with me, you know, I'm not her dad, or what. He doesn't say I'm not her dad, but like him kind of like going off to Dina about Ellie. And I'm like, I understand that it's meant to express that he's like frustrated because he knows she's mad at him, but like, it just felt I can't fully get into it, I guess, but like it felt out of character to me, because at that point in time I feel like Joel is very empathetic and sympathetic to Ellie. And I understand that they were trying to highlight in the show that Joel had a relationship with Dina in a way that we don't really get to see in the game, and that's cool. But
I'm loving that. That is one thing that I am definitely enjoying, is that Joel and Dina both get some screen time like together.
Yeah.
At least a little bit, before it happens. Because I mean, you don't really get to see that in the game, like almost at all, right?
Yeah,
like
I don't think they
Joel and
interact
Dina don't interact. Yeah, like so it's really cool to see that they do have like some sort of like relationship, or just a fondness of each other. Because I really do like Dina. Like Dina's one of my favorite characters. In the game. So to see her in this, and like to really be on board with her and her actress, like just bravo. She's turning out to be one of my favorite characters in the show as well.
Yeah. Well, I know you're a fan of Abby in the games, in the game, I guess. Do you think you will be a fan of Abby in the show based off of what we've seen so far?
Dude, I don't know, man. I like, part of me is just like not buying it.
Wow.
I don't like. What's her name? Caitlin Danver?
Yeah. Denver. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure that she's a great actress. I think it's just like the writing of it all that like I'm not quite sold on her yet. I'm also not sold on. I mean, a big part of Abby's story is in the games, Abby is like, Abby is massive. I mean, just jacked, right? And in the show, not so jacked. So it's like that's such like a defining characteristic of Abby for me that it's hard for me to buy into it.
You know what's crazy? So I was listening to the HBO podcast. They do like a breakdown of each episode every week, and it's actually hosted by Troy Baker, which is cool.
Oh, really?
And
that's super.
They
sick.
have Troy, Neil Druckmann, the writer and director of the games, and then Craig Mazin, the writer and director of the show. It's really good. And they were talking about, because originally The Last of Us adaptation was going to be a movie before it became a show. And
what?
Yeah. And when they were planning that, I don't know if they like officially cast or just heavily considering Caitlin for the role of Ellie. And they said that, by the time the show came around, they were saying that they felt like she'd aged out of it. But dude, I feel like she looks more like Ellie than Bella Ramsey does.
I do too.
And I don't think she looks that young, especially for.
And she's,
Ellie.
I think she's like in her 30s.
Really?
Right? No, she's 28.
Okay.
She's 28.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I swear, I thought I saw somewhere that she was like 32 or 33.
She does not look that old to me. I still think she absolutely could play that role, but.
Yeah, 100%. Because one thing that you said, I guess it was on the last episode that we did when we talked about episode 1 for like a sec. You just kind of gave your impressions on it about Bella Ramsey and how in Last of Us 2, like Ellie is supposed to be aged up a little bit. I don't feel like Bella Ramsey like is aged up at all.
No, and it was kind of what my interpretation at that time was like, we're gonna get into it and it's not really gonna bother me that much. And I do feel like that's kind of already happening. It's like, okay, this is, again, because these are just different versions of those characters in my mind, like pretty firmly at this point. It doesn't bother me that much at the time at this point. Maybe because I'm more focused at this point on how Abby doesn't feel like Abby to me, so it's like, all right, well, Ellie's fine, whatever, but now Abby's the new one that feels off. But I don't know. You could just probably nitpick those sort of things into oblivion when you care about the source material as much as you and I do. I think it's just part of the process. But I still
think that it's good. I don't. Of course, I don't want to sound like too down on it. Like,
I think it's great.
We definitely could nitpick until the cows come home. But like it still is very good. I'm definitely still more on like the season 1 train. But I've only watched 2 episodes. We've still got an entire season to go.
Yeah.
And by the time we get to the end of the season, I could be completely on board with it. But I'm skeptical for the time being, but I can recognize that the production of it all is great, and I mean, of course, the acting, and I mean, just Pedro Pascal, like,
yeah.
Whenever she gets going, he's like, dude, just do it already. Shut up.
Yeah.
It's so good, dude.
Yeah. That was the best part of the monologue, was that he had that line, which, I mean, in the game, he says what, like, why don't you go ahead and say your little speech and get this over with, you know, which I still like that more, but like, it was funny to have it adapt in that way. And I think that the actual performance of Bella and all of them in the in that scene, like seeing her crawl towards him at the end, is really really gut wrenching.
Watching him try to like get up, like,
and be have a little bit more life in him there than he does in the game at that point. It's just so nitpicky. It's insane. But like, her finishing him with like the impaling of the golf club rather than like the full like last beat, it just didn't have the same impact for me either.
Really?
I don't know. It just didn't.
I feel like it felt more finite to me that way.
To me, it felt like, okay, this Abby isn't as buff, and so like we kind of, that feels more final than like just one of their, I don't know, whack. But again, I'm such a little nitpicker. Little nitpicker right now. nit. But
we'll probably check back in a couple weeks after episodes 3, or 3 is out, but after episode 4 comes out, or I guess that would maybe be next week, whatever week. We're gonna check back in periodically on Last of Us 2 season 2, and kind of give some thoughts. I feel like by the end of the season, I will be more up on it than I am now, but for the time being, I'm skeptical.
Yeah, I know we said at the beginning of the segment we would maybe have game spoilers. I don't feel like it again was spoilery to say something that's already happened in the show and talking about how it's different from the game. I have like a couple of little things I could bring up that are different from the game, but honestly, the bigger ones might be worth saving anyway. So we'll save that for a later time to really more delve into maybe where we think things are going to go or specifics. But yeah, hopefully we can record next week and then talk about episodes 3 and 4 as well. Maybe do that going forward.
Yeah, for sure. All right, dude. Let's get into some games. Let's get into some games. Or a game in particular that we both have been playing, that we're both very excited about. This got announced back in June. 10-month turnaround time on, from announcement to release. And Clair Obscur Expedition 33 just released this past Friday. And how you feeling on it, dude? How you feeling on it?
It's everything I hoped it would be and more.
Same. It's so good. How is it so good, dude?
Incredible. I mean, every facet of it is beautiful, entertaining, satisfying, whatever you want to call it. This is a really special game. For context, I am in Act 2. I've played a good bit. So,
oh man, yeah, you played way more than me.
Yeah, I'm probably.
Ooh, you hear my voice crack there?
Yeah,
man, we're trading voice cracks.
Caught it through the microphone through Discord. Yeah, so it came out Thursday. I stayed up super late Thursday night to play some. Was gone all weekend. Played it Sunday night. Played it all day yesterday because I was off. So I've had a lot of time to kind of delve into it, and the performances are just incredible. The music is phenomenal. The combat system is so satisfying and so fun.
So good.
And the story is awesome. It's just such a good hook, and they do such a good job of keeping you engrossed as you go. I'm adoring it so far. What about you? Where are you at?
Yeah, I'm in the exact same boat, dude. It's one of those games where like we might have said this before, where it's like you see so many trailers for it, and visually it looks stunning. The combat looks so cool. Like, can they really do it? Like, is it really as good as it looks? Is it too good to be true? No, dude, it is. It really is just too good. It's amazing.
Where are you at? That roughly like hour wise, whatever.
I'm in like the second area, I guess, right after you open up the world map.
Okay.
Or you get out on the world map for the first time. Kind of a watery area, if you catch my drift.
I do.
Or you get your next party member.
Fun fact, that area inspired by SpongeBob SquarePants.
Is that real?
Yeah, according to the devs.
No
they
way.
said because it's in this underwater area, but you just walk around it like normal. And the devs said, this is an interview on Game Informer, they said, yeah, we wanted to have an underwater area, but we didn't want to have to create a whole swimming mechanic and all that. That was definitely way too much. So we were just like, well, in SpongeBob, the characters just walk around normally. Why can't our characters do that? So that's how you know it's amazing. Peak, honestly. Yeah, that's. So you've gotten into the juicy story stuff already. I mean, the big story stuff that really gets the ball rolling.
Yeah. When they like initially, set out and all that kind of stuff, like. It's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Like just right off the bat, in the first few hours, like the amount of things that happen where my jaw is just on the floor, like it's unreal. I think the characters are, for the small amount of time that I've known them, are really well written, and like this early on, like I really care for them, which not many games do for me, at least anymore. Like the combat.
Dude,
good lord,
this is going to go down as one of the best combat systems of all time. I think
of all time.
I think we will see other games mimic this. It's so good.
Yeah, because I mean, this whole game, like, it's such a hodgepodge of like so many different JRPGs that you can tell that this team of 30 devs, by the way, 30 people on this team, love these JRPGs. Have just made this hodgepodge of, Final Fantasy X. There's elements of Persona. There's elements of, Mario and Luigi. There's elements of old school Final Fantasies. Like there's so many different games all packed into this
Sekiro.
one game. It's like, okay, let's take Sekiro. Yeah. It's like, let's take this cool mechanic, this cool mechanic, this cool mechanic. These are all the best mechanics from all of these great games. And let's just throw them in this one game. And it works so well.
Yeah,
dude.
It's one of those ones where like
amazing.
I knew the general premise and I knew there was a lot to be excited about, but it's just a different thing entirely when you get your hands on it and you feel how good that combat is. Like, the dodging and parrying system is so unique. I mean, it is very Sekiro, but like when you put that in the context of a turn-based JRPG and characters in your party that have such drastically different play styles, it's just, it all sings. So, and there's so much synergy between the characters. There are a lot of JRPGs or RPGs in general, I feel like, where your party members are all cool, but they're kind of doing their own thing, right? But like this one, you really need them to work together with their abilities to kind of synergize with each other. I feel like to fully utilize everyone, and as well as synergizing with their own move sets. I mean, it's just got so much depth to it. And I truly have almost nothing negative to say about it at this point, even as far along as I am in it. I mean, it's incredible. I want to be playing it right now. So.
Dude, and it's all that I thought about. We were talking about it right before we started recording, but it's like, I got it on Friday. I got to play it for a few hours. And then, I started getting a little sleepy, tired, went to bed, woke up the next morning, went to work, was busy that night. Sunday, I went to a music festival. Last night, I went to a comedy show. So it's like, I've had no time to sit down and play this. And the entire time that I've been out, all I've wanted to do is play this. It has just been on my mind the entire time. Like, as we sit here and record this, I want to be playing this game right now.
And it's so rare that games get their hooks in me that badly these days.
Yeah.
Dude, in the soundtrack, man, I can't overstate how good. I was listening to it so much even before the game came out because it was on Spotify. And like, it's just banger after banger. It's got so many different styles to it. You have some that are like EDM. You have this like choral setting for a lot of them. You have these lyrical, pieces with the full string orchestras. You have like just some jazzy pieces. It's like it's got everything, man. And the battle themes are so good. It's just so good. I mean, do you have anything negative, I guess, and any drawbacks?
I'm really like sitting here trying to think about any negatives that I may have, and they're just like almost nothing. I say almost nothing. Nothing comes to mind, like at all. Like, I think that traversing the world feels good. They give you a little grappling hook sort of deal, which makes it, it gives it a certain level of verticality in, some senses, and it's a little linear, which like I don't mind. At least, in the areas that you can access, from the world map.
But it's such a great blend of linear and open, because then you get to the open world map, and then you can explore and decide where you want to go from there. And then you get to these areas that are one of the only very minor negative things I would say about it is that there are no maps of the linear areas that you're in. So navigating them can get a little difficult,
yes.
Especially if you're going back to like backtrack. That can be a little annoying. And
yeah, that's a good call. That is one thing that I was thinking while playing it.
Definitely persists throughout. There's one other like incredibly minor thing.
Oh, another gripe that I have. At least with how I'm playing it, I don't know if like I'm playing it on my TV through my PS5. I bought it on PS5. Even though you convinced me to get Game Pass, I wanted to give the studio $50. So
I know. Part of me is really sad I didn't get it on PlayStation, so I could go for the platinum. But
yeah, the dialogue during cutscenes is really quiet.
Yeah, some of the sound
when there's like loud music playing.
The sound mixing is a little messy at times. There are times I've had the audio kind of cut out. There are little things like that where I feel like you're reminded it's an indie team. There's like some lighting issues on Xbox, at least, where like particle effects will like just flash with these white orbs really weirdly on the screen. It's like for a split second. And I think some of the lip sync is a little off sometimes. I don't know if that's because it's primarily like they probably designed it for French.
Yeah.
Jesus. French first, and then maybe redid some of it for English, but some of the lip syncing doesn't totally work, or like they'll kind of talk over each other. And sometimes I'm like, is this you talking over each other conversationally, or is this like just it didn't line up correctly? It's like super minor things in the grand scheme of things, but it's like just having to kind of try and dig deep to find something to critique it for, because it's just so overwhelming.
Like it's so minor, and I just don't care, because it's so much fun and it's so good. And I mean, just thinking about like hitting that world map for the first time, even though you're in like a relatively small place of it, I feel, and I don't really think this is a spoiler. There was a bunch of mainly talking about the world map. There was talk about it in the developer direct, but with the world map, opening up like the full map and just seeing like how far up this map goes, it's like, dude, there's just so much stuff. And I can't believe that this, I mean, they say 30 to 40 hours is like the average length of this.
I don't know, man.
The way I play games, I'm normally doubling that.
I was gonna say, I think I must be coming up on 20 or so at this point, and the end is not in sight whatsoever. So I don't fully. I mean, I've been doing as much extra stuff as I can, but a lot of it is because there are no quest markers, there's no logs or anything like that. Hard to track progress super well, but I'm pretty sure I've got a lot to go. But yeah, I think they said like double that, like 60 hours if you're going to try and do everything. So
thank God, dude. I want this game to last as long as it possibly can. Like I haven't felt this way about a game since Rebirth came out.
Yeah.
Where it's like, all that I want to do is play this game, and I want to do every single thing that I can possibly do in this game. And I've been chasing that high ever since I beat Rebirth.
Yeah.
Because even like after beating Rebirth, like I I bought it again on Steam just so I could download some mods and like make it a little harder because I played Rebirth so much that like I got. I don't want to toot my own horn. I got a little too good at it.
Oh, he got too good, everybody. I knew he was going to say it. I'm actually a pro. Did I mention I got the platinum in Rebirth and remake?
Oh, hey, by the way, I got the platinum in Rebirth. It was,
like, you should brag about that.
It was really easy. It was
Even
really easy. It was so easy.
Had to cheese some stuff.
Shut up. No, I didn't. It was all fair. It's all in the game. It's fair.
It's there. It's true. No one's going to report you. You're not going to get your account banned. All right. So can't be that bad.
But I hope to God that like that Clair Obscur has, I'm knowing how many like JRPGs it takes inspiration from. There's no doubt in my mind that there's some kind of post game or some kind of like new game plus extra goodies, that will keep me around for a really long time. So, I can easily see if the game will allow me to play it for 100 hours or more, I will almost certainly do that.
Yeah.
I've got no problem with it.
I unintentionally saw something that's not like a big spoiler, but nothing specific, but something that indicates to me there are some pretty crazy post-game things to potentially look forward to. So,
oh yeah, okay, yeah, I've seen some quite large numbers on popping up on my Twitter timeline.
Yeah. So I think you will get your wish. But even just still going through the main stuff, there's so much to chew on there.
Yeah,
I think that it will be really tough for something else to be my game of the year this year. We'll check back in when I'm done, and we'll see. But one of my only other very minor complaints, I guess I will say, is that because of the parry system, it's what you would expect with something like that, like a Sekiro, where they make the animations, especially as you get further on, a little bit trickier and harder to read. It's like intentionally obtuse. Some of them I feel like are a little unfair sometimes. It's like, okay, I like literally just can't see what this character is doing because they're either like really tiny or like their weapons are a little whatever. And so sometimes I'll get into fights with something that's like way higher level than me, and it's like it is really satisfying to know I could still beat this guy if I just dodge or parry everything perfectly. It would just be a really long, grueling fight, and that is very satisfying to me.
Yeah,
and it forces you to learn these kind of move sets. There are some bosses I fought where I feel like their move sets are intentionally difficult to read, but because it's like a boss, it's not like I'm seeing them over and over again, and I'm high enough level that I can kind of just tank them, and so I don't fully feel like I learned or mastered the boss, but I'm still able to get through it. And so it's like I wish that the system was set up where it's already a tough game. It is a tough game, don't get me wrong, but like
I've already died multiple times, which doesn't happen for me in a lot of in a lot of games nowadays. I mean, I just
because as you heard earlier, he's so good.
Actually, like, yeah, exactly. I actually like feeling the challenge in this game and like getting to. I mean, in that first area, there's one like big enemy. He's got some big like glowing red aura around him, and you start to approach him, and your party's like, "Ooh, that's a strong one. I don't know if I'd fight that one." And I'm like, "Screw you!
He will one
I'm
shot
gonna
you.
fight."
He one shots you if you get hit. That is one of those fights where you're like, you can do it, and like his health bar isn't intimidatingly big. Like I think it's meant to be something to show you that it's like, okay, this is a relatively normal health bar for what you would expect, but he's so strong that you have to perfect him basically to get through it. And I sat there. It probably took me like 30 minutes and just learn. I mean, maybe not 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes it took me for this fight. Yeah, like just trying to learn the attack patterns. Like it felt like a Dark Souls boss. Yes. Like in certain ways. So I'm curious to see as the game goes on. I mean, I think one thing that would alleviate that is just I wish they had what Metaphor has, where you could just restart a fight with one button. That is definitely, especially for a game like this, where like I feel like you're kind of meant to have some trial and error. That would be really welcome. That's just a quality of life thing. So I'm curious as I keep going if they do reach a point where like the bosses are, I don't know. It is such a tight window for perfect parries. which makes it satisfying. But it also means like when you're learning, like I feel like you're supposed to miss some of them because.
Is there a parry and a perfect parry? Is there?
No.
Oh, okay.
But what I meant was just it's such a tight window for the parries,
yeah.
And so when you're sight reading a boss for the first time, going in blind, it's like I think you're meant to miss them, like the attacks initially, and so if that's going to be punishing, then like give me a tool to, I don't know, restart it easier and learn it easier. But
yeah, I do appreciate that. Like I just unlocked like because you can dodge, you can parry, and then at a certain point you unlock jump.
Yes.
Like pretty early on, and that giving you like a visual indicator, sick.
Yeah.
Super sick.
Those are much easier to do,
like
but they're still
Luigi every time I jump over.
Yeah. So I'm glad that those are there.
And all the characters having like different, essentially like ways that they play. They all have like their own signature kind of play style. Gustav has got his overcharge, and then Lune's got her stains. Yep. Is that what they're called? With the different like elements, and then you can spend those elements to make your other moves more powerful. Like it's just such a cool system. I can't wait to see what more. I mean, I don't know how many party members there are. I can only imagine there's probably like 4 or 5, but I've only unlocked 3 of them. So, well, Gustav, Lune, and then a third one. But
that third one
it's completely blown me out of the water so far.
That third one is my favorite, I think.
Yeah. I'm having a little trouble figuring out her play style a little bit with her stances and all that.
I feel like most of the party members are like there's a learning curve to them. The one after the third person, I still, even at this point in the game, I'm like, I don't feel like I'm fully utilizing you right now. And there's so many. We don't even need to get into this because it's so in depth. But the Lumina Picta system, which are these like 3 abilities that you can assign and then level them up and then upgrade them to where they're just passives. There's just so many layers to this battle system that makes it where it never feels like it's boring. There's always something, and you can have pretty wildly different strategies with the same character if you choose to use some of those Luminas, those abilities, and then use a different type of weapon. Like there's one character I have that is almost based entirely around just base attacks at this point. Because I got something that let them, you get a lot of Luminas that, your base attacks now make the enemies defenseless or they can put a mark on them. And I got a weapon with this guy who lets you attack again after you do a base attack. And
what?
Yeah. And I got an ability that lets your base attacks go twice. So I get 2 hits in, so 2 extra AP and do 2 base attacks with all of these, like they're marked and they're defenseless. And then I can just do another full turn. It's like crazy.
Dude, that's so cool.
It's so cool. And before I had that set up, I was completely wasting this character. I was like, I do not know what I'm supposed to be doing with you. And so it just takes how much you want to get invested in these systems. There's depth there if you choose. Or you could just be really good at pairing and you don't need any of it. It's a special game, man. It is.
I've gotten very good at fighting mimes.
Dude, they're so fun.
Very good. The music is so funny.
It's such a French ass game, dude. It is a French ass game. And the way that like JRPGs are so Japanese, it's like this is so French. I love it.
Yeah.
With the art style and the world and the designs.
Baguettes.
The costumes literally called baguettes. Yep. Let's wrap this up so we can. Well, actually, you know what? I have a very important question for you, which we should revisit once we finish the game. But I've been thinking about this because for a long time, I said that I think Remake and Rebirth have the best combat system of any game ever.
Mm-hmm.
Which combat system do you like more? This or Remake Rebirth?
Remake Rebirth. But it's like I still have. I don't think that I've gotten far enough in to like. Yeah. Really make like a solid opinion on it. But
just know I'm gonna ask that question again when you're done. Okay. And you've seen fully what this game has to offer because there's a lot more. coming down the pipe. But
Really, it'll probably still be Remake Rebirth, like, but it's going to be close. I mean, this will undoubtedly just based on my first 5-hour impressions, this will probably be my second favorite battle system in any game.
I think this might be my new favorite. I think
it might, and it very well could end up being my number one.
I think Remake Rebirth might fall to number 2, but
dang,
because
that's like
that's
a really high pedestal, dude.
It is.
That's really hard to topple that.
Because I always said I felt like that battle system was the perfect way to modernize turn-based combat with real-time combat, and it leans more on the side of real-time, and this I feel like is just a drastically different approach but the same goal, and it leans more on the side of turn-based, but the parrying and dodging system still feels so satisfying. And I don't know, they're very close, and I actually hadn't thought about them in that comparative way until I just said it, but now I feel like that was a really profound thing of me to say, so I'm glad I did. No, but I do think that's probably the best way to look at it. It's like they're going for the same thing, but like in the inverse way. I mean, when Rebirth is like going on all cylinders and you're doing like the team up attacks and all that stuff, I don't know. I'm not done with Clair Obscur either, obviously, so I'm sure there's more that I have to see with the combat system too. So we'll see, but I think it's a conversation worth having when we're both done.
I don't know that. Yeah, once we both finish up, which I mean, will probably be many episodes from now.
Yeah, for sure.
we can definitely have another talk about it and kind of, dude, I can't wait to get into like the meat of this combat. Just the way that you're talking about, how you're already setting up builds for like your basic attacks, dude, or whatever. I'm so pumped, dude.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go sit in this chair right now. I'm gonna go sit in this chair and play this game immediately.
Well, Clair Obscur, if you haven't tried it yet, I would recommend it to literally anyone. Like, if you are someone who just likes stories, you can play on story mode and experience a really awesome story. If you are someone who is just super into combat, like I said, one of the best, if not the best combat system in any game. Like, whether you like real time or turn based, there's something engaging for both people. If you just like pretty games, it's a real good looking game. I mean, it is.
It really is that pretty, dude. Yeah. Watching the trailer, like, I can't believe it actually looks like that. Yeah. It might be the prettiest game I've ever played.
Yeah, and it's on Game Pass. I'm like you. I think the reason I didn't get it on PlayStation is because part of me is like, I feel like once this blows up, and I think it is starting to blow up in a way that I'm really happy for them, I'm hopeful they'll do like a re-release, like some sort of collector's edition. Like, I know there was a collector's edition, but maybe like a, sometimes like a limited run or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping there'll be like more, because I think the current one was only available at GameStop anyway, which I don't like shopping at GameStop because they screwed over Game Informer.
I went to go check for the. I went to go check on the collector's edition just to see if maybe they had some. No, they're on eBay for $600.
Yep. Yeah, I should have just got it, but game's incredible, and we will have more to say in the future, I'm sure.
Yes, most definitely.
Let's wrap this up real quick. I only have one other tiny little thing I want to talk about, just because I was saying to you before the podcast, I feel like this is an indie game that I've not heard many people talk about. I've only ever heard it mentioned on MinMax before. But I was away this weekend, and I said, I'm going to bring my Steam Deck and actually use it for once. And what I had on it was this game called Mini Shoot Adventure, which is this 2D Zelda-like, but instead of playing as the titular Link, who I guess isn't in the title, so you can't really call him the titular, but the protagonist, Link, you play as this little ship, and you have bullet hell. For those who don't know, it's, when you see these games, for video watchers, there's a little bit of it on the screen right now, but you see these like tiny ships that have these hundreds of orbs coming at them at any time, and you have to like kind of zoom through them as you go and shoot at the same time. But it's got the dungeons and overworld of like a Link Between Worlds with the combat of bullet hell kind of segments where you're shooting things up. And dude, it is fantastic. The art style is so bright and vibrant and colorful. The upgrades that you get throughout the game feel really satisfying. The overworld is fun to explore, but it's not like so big it's overwhelming. It's challenging but not like unfair. It's just so good, dude, and I've not really heard anyone else talk about it, so I feel like it would be fun to just give it a shout out here. But if you like Zeldas, especially the 2D ones, and if you like, you know, more arcadey style games, it's only $15 on Steam. It is only on Steam right now. But dude, it was the perfect.
You said it's only 15?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, I will 100% check this out. This looks so sick.
It is, and it was like,
I love Bullet Hells and I love Zelda.
The perfect
you sold me on it immediately.
Yeah, it came out last year, and I only played it now. And I was saying to you before the podcast started, I was looking back at my ranking of games from 2010 or 2010 from 2024. My top 10 from 2024, and this would be top 10. I think my 8 through 10 was like Neva, Marvel Rivals, and Angerfoot. And I did really like Angerfoot, but I think this would take that spot.
This tops that.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's a more polished game than Rivals for sure. Rivals is obviously just going for more.
Right.
But it's great. I would give it like an 8.5 out of 10, 9 out of 10 even, maybe.
Very nice.
Story, I didn't really care about. I mean, it's not really about that, but it's like just so solid from a gameplay standpoint, and super fun. And if you're looking for a game to check out, especially if you do have it on, if you do have a Steam Deck, perfect for that. So
did you end up beating it?
I did, yeah. It's only like 8 hours.
How long? 8 hours? Okay. Cool.
So I beat it. My Steam times are all messed up. I guess I don't know if it's because the deck was like in sleep mode instead of off or whatever. It's had like 140 hours in it. I was like, that's literally not possible to play this in one weekend. So if you do the math, that doesn't work. But yeah, it took me about 8 hours, and it's cool because like once you find everything, there are a lot of secrets to find in the open world as you go, a lot of optional stuff to do, and you can unlock the true final boss, which I did. By 100% of the map, and then after that you unlock a whole gauntlet run you can do, which I haven't finished that yet, so I don't know what happens after that. But
that's sick.
There's a lot to it, even in the post game area, which is really cool. So cannot recommend it enough. I think it's super cool, and thought I'd give it a shout out. So that is Mini Shoot Adventure.
Sick.
Yeah,
very cool, dude.
So yeah, I think we are at a point where we're gonna call it. I would love to do a tier list this week. That's the titular thing, the titular tier list for the Teardrop Pod. But we had a tier list on this episode. We brought back the MCU show one, so that counts, right?
Sorry, I had to sneeze. I'm muted my mic. What did you say?
Watch that happen. I said I would love to do a tier list, but we did bring up the MCU show tier list here, so I think that counts, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we did a tier list. What are you guys talking about? Don't worry about it.
Exactly. So we haven't talked schedule yet, but I hope we will be able to do next week normal time. So we'll aim for that. But as always, just keep it posted to Spotify and YouTube and Apple Podcast for those episodes as they drop. And we will be back to talk Thunderbolts and whatever else we've been doing. I'm sure we'll be playing lots of Clair Obscur. Maybe we'll get more updates on that. Also, didn't really talk about on this episode. If for some reason you haven't gone and seen Sinners yet, go see that movie, dude. It's so fantastic. It's so fantastic. I won't do a whole segment devoted to it since you haven't seen it yet, but truly the best movie of the year by wide margin. I mean, this year has been pretty stinky for movies. Wow. But dude, also, I really want to go see Until Dawn. Did you see that's out now?
Not a chance that I see
dude.
It. Not a chance.
Did you play the game?
I tried to play the game. I was not vibing with
That's crazy. Then you'd probably
it.
really hate
That's
the movie. But I will definitely try to see that. I don't know if it'll be before the next pod, but I think that could be fun to talk about.
Maybe. Yeah.
So, but that wraps it up for this week and for my voice. Andrew, any parting words to our kind listeners?
No, we're all good. I hope you feel better. I'm very sorry that you're sick, but I and the listeners appreciate you sticking it out for the sake of content.
Of course.
For the sake of me finally being able to talk about Clair Obscur Expedition 33 to someone.
Need to share the gospel. It was more important than my health. If we get even one person to play Clair Obscur who didn't, or Mini Shoot Adventure, then it will have been worth
massive
it.
Win.
So
yeah, for sure.
I got some tissues to throw away because I've been wiping my nose this whole podcast, as the video listeners will see. So I'm going to run, but we will hope to see you next week or very soon. And until then, keep on dropping those tears.
Boom. Bye, guys.
Bye.